We are getting ready to go live. Going live over on the YouTube side. Let's see. Locking it in to the, actually, start streaming. Now I gotta go lock them in. I'm sure you can hear this already. Excellent connection. Here we are. And welcome back. Welcome back to Who Am I? We're gonna just riff about the cosmos for an hour or so. We're not going to talk about what we aren't. What we are going to do is just invite you into my living room as I ponder the mysteries with us all. We're talking about source energy. We're talking about our nature. We're talking about reality. What is reality? How do we interpret reality? What is the story of mankind on planet Earth? How about that one? What's the object of the exercise even? How about that one? Or who am I individually, and how do I play into this bigger picture that I obviously am a part of? But on the other hand, some part of me feels that I'm more than just an inkly, pinkly part, a nano mote, a mote of dust in the wind. I'm more than that. Somehow it's important who I am. Somehow it is. I feel very strongly that it's important. And you know what? I think it is. I think the individual, in a way, is as important as the whole, but it is also important that the individual finds their alignment with the whole so that they can be harmoniously their own autonomous, joyful, not just joyful too, because it's more than just joyful. It's purposeful and engaged. And you know what? I've had a problem with engagement. With my engagement with the greater whole. You know, my professional self, if you will. I made it to, what have I done? You know, you might say, who the hell are you, Missy, that you're telling us anything? Well, School of Life, we all have that. We all have that credential. Every single one of us could turn and look at the meaning of our own life, calculate in all of the times that we felt all the different things, and sort of order it out into a recognition of when you were feeling X, Y was the product, you know, or when I felt this and then acted from it, it turned out such and such a way. What I'm getting at is when you feel a strong sense of negative emotion and then surge out to try to make something happen from that position, you find all that you are doing is thrashing in negative emotion, and you're not effective in the greater field around you because it's all about alignment. It's all spinning together. It's all, you know, stuff's happening, stuff's going and flowing, and, you know, things are doing, and, you know, the world is... And that can be kind of scary, you know, especially if you're going in a slower flow. I particularly have always wanted to go in slower momentum. Flying by the seat of my pants at high speeds, while having not cleared the trees, if that's sort of a weird analogy, but that didn't work for me very well. So I had actually slowed my life down to a crawl, and it's like there is nothing I care more about than that I feel good, and then start looking at the world. The fact is I have always had a tendency to gaze at the larger world, and often in angst, Well, as I studied the Holocaust, what am I looking at? I'm looking at man's capacity for evil and cruelty. And this intricate, mindless organizational impulse, It's because the mindless part of it is because those carrying out the orders are not coming from their own internal impulses. They are mindlessly following an order that's coming from above them. And it's literally probably being ordered, I order you to do this. And that's what the pattern of the social order of that whole thing was. I'm talking about the study of the Holocaust and World War II and the Germans and the Nazis and Hitler. Hitler himself and his inner circle and the dynamics of that and the psychology of that. And what Hitler himself, what his issue was. He didn't come from a great life to begin with. And he fought in World War I and bought into the ideals that were sold to him by his country, his people, whatever. And then when they capitulated and negotiated a peace and said, everybody go home, we're going to take the blame for all of this, never mind. He was seething. He couldn't deal with that. And there was a number of people that became his circle that was sort of like the gang of us, but I'm the leader, damn it. And they are the ones who invited us back to part 2 of the World War. I like to call it the World War, not World War I and World War II. Simply because you start doing the ordinals like that, and the temptation is to imagine that we're going to World War III. And unless we tell ourselves that story, I don't think that that's what's going to happen, because there's too much order in the world right now. There's too much at stake. We don't want to smash it all down, do we? Do we really? The only reason that we would is if we are somehow resistant of the truth of the nature of what's coming down the pike if we're so resistant in the 21st century, 22nd century, that we just insist on only developing 20th century technology. And you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about energy. I'm talking about 0-point energy. I'm talking about understanding the quantum field in a way that we really need to understand the quantum field. We need to understand it all the way down to the ground and understand that all of reality is made of it, and that includes us. That's what makes it so interesting. So on the one hand, you study Hitler and the Nazis and that whole Holocaust phenomenon, and oh my gosh, makes you just want to just die. It's just so awful. We are so mean. However, when you understand what the phenomenon actually is that you're looking at, and then you understand what the solution to it would be, understanding would be the solution to it. Ignorance is the problem, understanding is the solution. Duh, wouldn't it just be? And what it comes down to is understanding who we are. Hitler did not understand who he was, and he didn't understand who we were. But it didn't matter because he lived in a very raw time, and humanity itself did not understand who we were. And until humanity does not understand who she is, until mankind understands who she is, did I cover everybody? Mix it up the way you like. Got man and she both in there. And until mankind understands who she is, then there will always be individual expressions of that ultimate ignorance. And if they find fertile ground to organize with one another, because that's what it does, the momentum of both sides is going to organize. Both the positive, loving coherence and the storms of... actually, I don't know what I'm saying right now. Because I was talking about some very specific things, and I don't want to get into a field of misunderstanding as I mix my metaphors and I, just dance through meadows in my own mind that the world did not follow me to. So let's just circle back around. The question of the day and the question of every day and of all time is always, who am I? Why am I here? What am I trying to accomplish? What is the responsibility of every human being? And what is not the responsibility of every human being? Both of those things could probably be more clearly delineated. You just assume it all the time, that this and that and the other thing. But a lot of times these assumptions are made without any kind of clear understanding of the field we're looking at in the first place, so I would call most of them invalid. Because if you're holding me to a contract when you're not correctly ascertaining, the ground situation, then I don't think that it applies. So that's how come we're going to talk about the ground situation. Fundamentally, what is reality? Where is it coming from? How is it manifesting? How is the rolling manifestation? What is it doing? Because the fact of the matter is that it is changing every nanosecond. It is fully changing. Now, why doesn't it look that way? It's because focus and attention is holding it to certain forms. So there's continuity. There is continuity, while at the same time there is no continuity at all, because it absolutely breaks every nanosecond. And yet there is continuity. Isn't it a wonderful universe? It is so full of paradox. You can just swim and bathe and bask and warm yourself with paradox, all day long, because that's what it is. When you get to the core of it, it's like all of it is valid. And so where does that leave you? Where does that leave you? Because we do have a big bite of reality sandwich going on out there. There is realities. There is food being produced. There is weather being had that affects that. There are ecosystems that are helping to produce that. Think about the wild caught anything. If you're eating wild caught salmon, then there is some ecosystem out there that you are still dependent on. Or if you're eating farmed stuff, then how is that blending in with the environment of, we're all in this together, by the way. But the answer is not to get all freaked out and worried about things and light your hair on fire and knee-jerk to trying to force somebody else to do something different than what they are doing. Because honestly, you gotta understand the situation and work with it. Work with it yourself. If it's something you can do something about, and you really want to do something about, because you can't do something about everything. You just can't. I can't go fight wildfires in Canada at the same time that I am stopping poachers in Africa, at the same time that I am handing out rice to starving children in the Sudan, at the same time that I am saving all of the pets at my local shelter, at the same time that I'm trying to get all the birds fed. And while and by the way, even feeling like you need to do that is a sense of scarcity consciousness, because it's sort of assuming that nobody can do anything for themselves, and that we don't have some kind of structure that we could work with where everybody could do their part joyfully, by the way. That's what we really need to aim for. Everybody doing their part joyfully and willingly, understanding what the actual situation is. The actual situation that we've got. What is the state of reality? All the way down to the physics of it. And see, that's what the 20th century had a little bit of a problem with, because the physics that we understood was sort of flying in midair. Wasn't grounded, didn't include us, did not include consciousness, it was a one-off Big Bang without an understanding of where Big Bangs come from, the foaming, frothing universes that Big Bang, or that trickle, that emanate, that bang from Hawking radiation that spins off Plancks from universes of one density into spaces of lesser density, thus making that really, 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 really dense Planck or proton or whatever it is, whatever size particle the physics says that is flung off from that Hawking radiation, hits that new lighter density, goes kaboom, ka-big bang. But it's not a one-off, and it's not just our universe. That's how the whole thing works. And all of us and all of everything is a flow of information. And depending on which level of information you're allowing yourself to click into, how big of a frame are you clicking into, that's allowing you the flow of larger and larger scales of data information. I don't know, that really I started to sound really wise and smart, and then I ended up kind of stupid. It's kind of like that. We are all like that. We are geniuses. We are powerful creators. We are focusing machines. And we are preference determiners. And what we should be doing is evaluating our situation quickly. Oh, got it. And now I'm going to focus on what I would like this to be, given what I've got, how I can move this into, using continuity still, how I can, so you do this all the time in your life, when you organize a closet or your garage, or when you improve the landscape in front, or if you, it's called organization, and what it actually amounts to is spin. That's what it literally is. And when you can imagine it from the physical all the way out to the spiritual, and from everything you're looking at around you all the way to what it looks like inside of you, and have it all click, 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 click into place in the form of spin. You can see it now. Oh my God, we're all spinning. We're spinning together, and then we're spinning separately. And then some of us are wildly spinning separately, having no concept of this greater field that you are spinning with. Dance gently with the field around you. Don't be so harsh. You really are part of the field around you. So when you go off, you know, the you're not seen. It's funny because when you feel small, you want to shout really loud because you feel like no one can see you, but you are part of a greater field. And the object of the exercise, I believe ultimately, the object of the exercise is the object of the exercise is joyful, playful sustainability. Meaning that we also need to understand the greater biofield around us because we are not separate from it and we cannot live separate from it. And we don't need to. As we feed our billions, we don't need to. We can learn how to recreate incredible abundance upon this planet. We can learn how to do it. Our inner beings will show us the way. We need but get into alignment with our inner beings and know that we are also a greater species, that none of us can live without the rest of us, or almost none of us can live without the rest of us. And even the ones who can live without the rest of us right now will not be able to do it very much longer if the rest of us don't understand how to more harmoniously blend with our mother planet. Because those who might be doing it on their own are still doing it on functioning ecosystems on a living planet. And if the rest of the 8 billion of us do not get into alignment with Mother Gaia, Planet Eden, Earth, whatever you want to call this biofield that we are all dependent on, we are indeed all dependent on her. But when you understand, don't get freaked out about it. We don't need to get freaked out about any of this, because the good news is that we live in a universe so magical and so wonderful that's the reason how come our Imagineers have been coming up with so many imaginative analogies to it in the form of sci-fi and fantasy. Our sci-fi and fantasy is only sort of taking wild stabs at this miraculous vibrational wonder that our universe actually is. And we are all magicians in this game that we're playing. It's a game, but it's not a game because it feels like, but what's the object of the exercise? Well, when you get your object of the exercise more into alignment with the object of the exercise of the field around you, then your life flows a little bit better. If what you want is peace and love and order and efficiency and beauty, fun, abundance. I want abundance. I know that the orchards of the planet can belch forth enough apples, metaphorical and literal, to feed us all. And I mean including all of us, all of the non-human beings that want to play and share this beautiful, beautiful blessed planet with us. There is enough for all of us. And what we need to do is we need to organize the spaces so that the lungs of the planet stay sacred, and all of the inhabited places turn into more shire like I don't know. You could ask me, you could put me into a think tank and I could really go for it. And so if anybody ever listens to this show and they have access to a think tank and they want to put me into it, I promise you I could oracle and envisionary and spin this out into amazing, amazing possibilities. leaving far behind any of the issues we've got going today, but solving every one of them as we go. The growing deserts can be largely fixed by, so there is enough clean, free energy at every point, everywhere in the entire universe to run the whole universe pretty much at all times. It is the energy that is running the whole universe. And when you get into alignment with it, it starts... Oh my goodness gracious. The possibilities are just... I'm going to pause in my... I know that might be a weird place for me to stop, because was I just getting ready to jack up my energy and like spin it out into whatever? I don't know. We're talking about source energy and what's the possibilities and who we are and how it works. What your focus, your attention, your focus and attention, actually just quit the word your. Focus and attention is like the true currency of the universe. It's what it really is. And certainly it is in your world. That's why children understand this. That's why all they want from their parents is their parents' attention. Give me your attention, parent. That's all I want. Just give it to me. And the parent gives it to them to a point. And then when it no longer serves the child for the parent to do that, the parent goes back to doing whatever they were doing, because we all need to be getting on with a bigger picture. You know, it's time for humanity to grow up and start taking responsibility for our actions, for what's going on planet Earth, for the wars that we just can't seem to get past. Or can we? I don't know. I haven't been watching the news. I quit watching the news. I watched for just a minute. I sort of opened up one eye for a minute as the American election went by, because I knew that meant something. I knew it was momentous. I did not get my panties in the same kind of wad that I did back in 2016. I know some people might be saying, yeah, but it's worse now because now we know what we've got and we did it. Yeah, but we're still America. We're still America, and we're still Americans, and we still have this ability to think and feel and talk and broadcast and understand. And we have been raised a particular way. America is in some ways is a very important part of mankind, because we have been raised as individuals, you know. Individualists. It's one of the reasons how come I'm broadcasting from the Who Am I Radio Network from beautiful downtown Corrales, New Mexico. It's the I think that our village is considered the horse capital of New Mexico. We are not the green chili capital. And we're not the balloon capital. That's Albuquerque, right next door. What did any of that matter? It didn't matter. But so from the bigger picture, we've got these bigger things going on. Like we have wars that keep going on. And then we have desertification. The deserts are growing bigger. We don't want that. We need the forests to be growing bigger. Or some such, at least not getting... We want to, as human beings, inhabit every part of it because we like that. It's fun. But we should probably... we need to think collectively, but not in lockstep and groupthink. And us coming to terms with that and to grips with that has been an issue. I think for now, we need to just make sure that we keep some of our wild places wild. Keep the wild places wild for now, and at some point, perhaps in the nearish future, we'll start seeing this coming into our horizon, because as soon as gravity is no problem whatsoever, because we understand exactly how to countermand it, and it's really not all that hard to do it, we can lift our cities off the surface of the planet. Our urban areas don't have to be all over the natural ecoscapes. They can be orbiting, or they can be just off the surface of the planet. I'm not sure. I'd like to ask Nassim sometime how he envisions what the actual possibilities might be. I would love to do that. But see, I'm nobody, and I don't have a following, and so there's no reason why he would ever do an interview with me, even though I come from the Who Am I Radio Network from beautiful downtown. Anyway, I do this for myself. Someday somebody is going to find me. They're going to say, hot damn, girl, you really can describe this. You can describe this, and you can help us, ask the world for attention. Give us some attention over here this direction, because this field of study is going to have massive ramifications. Is that the right word? Ramifications? That I was going to say implications, or I don't know what other kind of ations we might have, but ramifications for sure, perhaps. The ability to have free, clean energy everywhere. That means those people at the edge of the desert, maybe they won't even want to live at the edge of the desert when this kind of technology comes into mankind's, But if they do, they can do it for the beauty of the desert, and they can live in beautiful ecological harmony with the desert, because no longer do they have to cut down any scrub vegetation and burn it to cook their food. Now they have a little device that gives them free, clean energy wherever they want, and they can cook their food, whatever their food is. They might even be able to, their food might even be coming in on packets, from the outside world, perhaps. You could do that and still live in harmony with the desert. Your inner being could help you do anything. Our inner beings is going to help us see each other as both, do the little praying hands and, the bowing thing. I don't know what you call that. They do that in India all the time. They do it because it is an acknowledgement of the deity in me is acknowledging the deity in you. If we would start doing that fully, recognizing who we really are as a big picture, we would start seeing each other as part of my greater body. And so, of course, I'm going to respect you. God bless. I don't want my liver cells telling my kidney cells how to process urine. But I want my liver cells doing what liver cells are supposed to do. Everybody mind your own business and trust everybody else to be doing theirs. And we could do that if we were living in a world where human beings knew who they were and understood, well, why isn't this coming naturally? Why are we having such a problem on planet Earth? Where does that even come from? I think it comes from the fact that we're genetically modified, because that's exactly what would happen. The two things that would cause the kind of ecological mismatch that we seem to be on planet Earth as human beings is either genetic modification or being like when you take one species out of where they developed and transplant them into a different place. That's the other thing that causes this kind of rift, where you have a species that seems to be in a situation where they don't quite understand how to be naturally. It's just like we didn't spend millions and millions of years evolving this neocortex to the level that it is, and our heart, brain, our emotional whatever. It's like we don't know how to be without a cultural map, without a story behind. And, is that all it was? We actually did develop over a long period of time, but there should be some kind of cellular memory. There should be some kind of innate knowing of our connection to our inner being. We don't have that. And I think the reason is because our inner being was sort of, in a way, the separation between the two beings was born all of a sudden when we were genetically modified and our neocortex was born. And now we have this aspect of our mind that is, it's our physical mind that has overview capability, but no wisdom about it. No access to all the ancient information like our cells and our vibrational self has, But now it's this self that can see the bigger picture. And so how do you tap into the wisdom of link the two minds together? Just make sure that the physical one is never trying to take the lead. The physical one is the one trying to understand the greater one. And if you get them in order, then you'll be all right. Now, Einstein had a quote about that, I'd like to go find it. Unfortunately, I can stop recording, but I can't stop streaming when I go. I've lost my windows have come down a couple of times, and then I try to think, well, what was there? What did I have to put back up? And this is one of them. He says something like, I want to do the actual real quote. It has to do with the servant and the gift. You know which one I'm talking about? And he's talking about the two minds that a human being is. And he talks about one as the servant and the other as the gift. The intuitive mind is the gift, and the rational mind is the servant. And we have come to be a people who have forgotten about the gift and honor the servant. Something like that. I'm going to go find the exact one. If you don't mind for a second, maybe you know what it is. Let's see. What is that quote? But he's talking about the two minds, the two selves that we are. And the reason that we are two selves and we don't know how to be on planet Earth is because we were sort of given this gift, or the servant, or whatever. We were given this duality, this binary nature, all of a sudden when someone genetically modified us and plumped our neocortex up all of a sudden. So that now, all of a sudden, we have this overview thinking mind, but doesn't have the wisdom to click in to all of the rest of the field, doesn't know that you are more than just yourself. You are the rest of the field too. You are a flow of data and information that includes yourself and small frames and bigger things, and it's all of it. Let's see, what do I put in here? Einstein quote, gift and servant. Let's see. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. And that's basically what we're going to be talking about today and every day on the Who Am I program on the Who Am I radio network. And the reason we're going to be talking about, well, it's because these are the two minds we're talking about. The two selves that you are. And understanding these two selves is the key to understanding your negative self. And it's also the key to understanding everybody else's negative self. And our collective negative self. There's all kinds of negative selves you're going to start understanding as soon as you understand this more clearly and more all the way down to the ground and all the way down to the physics of it. And we really are source energy, extensions of source energy. We are source energy in coherence. And where there isn't anything, where it looks like a blank space, that's where source energy is not in coherence. But when you get into coherence, and that's the same, from our perspective, that's the same thing as getting into alignment. Getting into alignment. Getting into alignment with your true self, with your larger self, with your greater purpose. With your greater purpose as a larger field, as a mature human being, and also as an individual with all the actual individual things going on around you. And the whole thing has to do with your desires. What do I want? What do I want? What do I want? And the thing is from a pure perspective, what a human being is we bang around in this physical space and we stub our toes and we skin our knees, and we like this and we don't like that so much. We get more, after doing a bit of this, we evaluate the situation and we go, I know what would be better. If this chair was over there, then this whole thing would flow so much better. That's what feng shui is all about, by the way. People looking at a space and feeling how the energy in the space, because they know what rooms are used for and how things move around. You can feel how the function of a room would flow. That's what the study of feng shui would be. But a gardener would be looking at a space and trying to figure out how to make it more beautiful, more functional, more ergonomic, more whatever it is. And to accommodate, who is he trying to accommodate? Is he putting fishes in there, or pheasants, or peacocks, or do we have monkeys involved, or whatever? What part of the field are you adding into this equation? And as you look at it, what would be better? What would be better? What would be better? And we are better noticing, we are preferring machines. And a lot of times we have no faith we should be co-creating with the field, instead of insisting on doing it all ourselves without understanding that we are a field. I think that's part of our problem. And we should more want what we need and understand what we need and understand what we want. Oh my goodness. You know what I think we should understand? I think we should understand who we are. Who we are and what's the object of the exercise. What is the object of the exercise? Joy. Joy. Actually, we are here for the joy. Did you know that? If you are living a very suffering life, it might be a hard pill for you to swallow. What do you mean? What the F do you mean? I am here for joy. I am here clinging to this for dear effing life. Clinging to, sanity. Well, when you understand who you really are, you might start understanding the chaos that has been going on inside of you. And when you begin to understand that and start to sort it out, and you realize that you actually, the world may stand outside of you and try to demand that you unravel because of it. Because I'm in pain. You must unravel. You must come down here and join me in my pain so that you will understand. Well, actually, I don't mean to sound callous, and you have no idea which pain I'm talking about. And so I could be just, saying, F you, want food all you like, I'm going to go play golf. But honestly, every person needs to follow from their individual place. They need to find what they want. They need to find what they like. They need to find what they like to do, what they want to do, because that desire, that sensation, that feeling, that pull, that tug towards something that seems like it would be good, that energy is source. That's source. And what might be messing it up is some thoughts you've got in your physical mind about what reality is, about what's possible, about what you're capable of or not capable of doing, of what other people are. Are they all out there ready to, with their arms folded, just ready to strike you down? Is that what you're imagining the world is? Or are you imagining how all of it has to do with the sum of how you are pulling it all together and focusing, and what you're focusing on, and what frequency you are on as you are focusing, what intention you have at the center of the spin of your focus. Because your focus is a kind of a spin. It's a kind of a spin. When you focus, it sets a little vortex of something going. And at some point, it becomes perhaps a vortex of organization, The next thing you know, you got a project going, and you got people, lined up, taking care of this and this and this and this. And some of them are family members, and some of them are, guild members. Some of them are professional this and that and the other, constructioners or whatever. Is it an idea for a business? Is it an idea for or just a little thing? You're trying to pull together a family reunion, and you want everybody to at least play nice. And, there are a few practical things. We got to stay somewhere. We got to get to and from the airport. And, there's people are going to want to eat. And Lord knows by the end of it, some of us are going to need to drink a little. Just joking. I only drink a little. I have started the Mediterranean diet. We did that a couple months ago. And I don't know how long ago it has been exactly. A couple months, maybe. I feel really good. All in all, I've lost about 24 pounds at yesterday's weigh-in. So I feel pretty good about all that. I was never excessively overweight, and it's not like I'm not shooting for any particular number. I just know that as I lean into to who I am, and put how I feel emotionally, how I feel at the top of my priority list, and then from that position, now I gaze back out at the world, and I promise you, you have somebody inside of you who is looking at the rest of the field, who is connected to the reality of the needs of all of the rest of the field around you. So when you are in true harmonious concert, when you are in true harmonious intercourse, you might say, with the source within you, you are not being harmful. Even if you are not in this moment thinking of the poor, or administering directly to the whatever. Just because you're not doing that does not mean you are not in alignment with your inner being. You might be joyfully doing something that does more good for more of the planet than any of your anguished hair on fire, trying to throw yourself at the situation from an anguished position. That's what I used to do. You wouldn't believe the causes that I studied when I was younger. And I believe that this position that I have found now is sort of pulling all of the meaning of all of them together. I studied, I went through my laying waste moment where I was I'd go into the library and I would check out as many books as I could find on any particular subject that I was interested in at any given moment, that I was, so we were doing a little bit of speed at the time, kept you up a little bit longer, and your attention could stay on one topic for a longer period of time. I went through my vivisection period where I was very concerned. I started to realize this very dark, horrible background behind Western medicine. This ugly, I don't know what. Ugly what? What noun am I going to call this? An ugly facet behind Western medicine. And now I do understand that I've known lots of doctors who would like nothing more than to heal the people who come to them. I'm not always convinced that they understand reality, that they understand consciousness. They would like to eliminate the placebo effect and only find those people who react to the drugs, because their ultimate goal is they want to sell you pharmaceuticals. They want to sell you surgical procedures. They want to sell you medical something. They're in it for the money. They're trying to make a living because that's what the whole paradigm has to be. We're all trying to capitalize. We're all... that's supposed to be the reward of our correct endeavors. And there's this big vivisection thing sitting behind the medical model. And like I said the other day when I mentioned it, I don't really know the state of that these days, whether we have abolished that abomination yet or not. I had to turn away from it. It was just too vile. It's the same thing like when you study the Holocaust too deeply, you just realize that if you start to go down the dark pit, down to the bottom of the dark hole, you find that there's no bottom. There's no bottom to that, and you will end up, going mad and drowning all your children to keep them from having to face the wickedness of this world. Because honestly, if you want to go and prove how bad the world is, I couldn't argue with you. But the solution is understanding the nature of the whole thing, because when you look at it from the frame of the whole thing, it is liquid love. It is full connection. It is, we are all in this together. It is a joyful, spinning endeavor of great meaning and joyful possibility. And furthermore, when you understand just from let's don't get on either a positive or a negative. Let's just look at the neutral voice all the way up, all the way down. Let's just look at what we've got going here. We live in a divine matrix that we are just beginning to understand the depth and breadth and height and meaning of the structure of this divine matrix. And we are made of this divine matrix. We are this data flow. And the more that you open up to it and click into alignment with it, the wiser you get, the better ideas you get, the more agreeable you get to other people. You find that you just don't rub... I don't rub very many people the wrong way, because I am not out there trying to put this forward in a place where people are not ready to receive it, for one thing. I would love everybody to hear my message, but I don't want to debate it with anybody, because honestly, anyone, I know how this works. If you're determined not to see it, there is no way you will see it. So if you want to argue with me about it, you're already right. Because if you're arguing, hey, it's not like that, well, it's not like that for you, and there's no way you'll ever see it. So there's no reason to debate. But when you can start clicking open your own consciousness and start recognizing, oh my goodness, it really is a reflection of me, and everything I'm getting back is a reflection of the emotional energy that I am putting out. It comes back in, the nature of the relationships I get, the people I expect to rendezvous with, The possibilities are way bigger than I am imagining, and only my inner being knows what I want combined with where everything is and how I could play with it if I would but allow it. And so that's what I'm doing every day as I do this show. This feels so good to me. It's so satisfying to me. It's where I get to this. If I'm doing it correctly, the two of me are here together. If I'm doing this correctly, then the two of me are here together. I'm pushing back against nobody. I am accepting that there is value everywhere. There is value in all things. Everyone is standing with an inner being. All human beings have one. And if for some reason their inner being, their neocortex, somehow their cognitive functions are scrambulated in some way, then you gotta forgive their behavior, figure out how to lovingly and gently contain their behavior whilst respecting their consciousness. And, we have a long way to go. We have a long way to go, and yet we could just pivot slightly, and we're there. What do I mean by that? Well, we're going to get to the practical part for just one little second. We're going to talk about this for just a moment. If we really understood this structure, free, clean energy everywhere, what does that do to the oil barons? Well, it means they're sitting on a pile of something that needs to stay in the ground, that needs to stay under the ocean, that needs to stay under the Songas forest. I hope that the electing of Trump and his administration does not split wide open the Willow Project, does not put that on steroids. I hope that at some point I may have to get out and protest something. But you know what? Maybe not. Maybe not. I dream of a world where we are all organized by virtue of our inner beings, because our inner beings can organize us perfectly, knows what we want. We want good communication structures. We want good communication systems is actually the word. We want all of our systems to be efficient and holistically sustaining for all human beings, allowing all of us to get what we want. We want to move around the world. We want to play with one another. We want to have abundance. We want to love our children. We want clean water, clean air, living, breathing ecosystems. All of us want that. Even the ones who are, dumping the worst and befouling the nest the worst still want clean air and clean water. We can all have what we want. Clean, free energy would mean that we could recycle fully all of the waste that we have created. We need to create precious little more ever, and the moment we create it, we can recycle it immediately. The energy to do so is no longer ever an issue, and to extract that energy in itself never has a high cost. You know what I mean? Right now, if we want to recycle anything, we have to use fossil fuel energy to do it. And in doing so, it creates a fossil footprint of its own, a carbon footprint of its own. You know what I mean? Well, with clean, free energy, I'm so sorry. I got distracted, and now I'm looking at the clock, and I realize that our time is almost up, which means a part of me is speaking still, and another part of me is trying to run through, well, what do I want to say? And that's really not a good way to flow it. My riffs are not as good when I do it that way. But honestly, I come to this forum honestly and without guile or artifice. I truly try to align myself and my inner being together to ask the questions that we all need to ask. Who am I? Where are we going? What's the point of it all? It isn't. What we used to think the point of it all was, well, through time we've had a lot of different things that we have thought. Most recently, the last couple of 100 years, has it been that long? How long has it been? A couple of 100 years. Coming up on maybe not quite so long. Our idea has been that it has been the survival of the fittest. Survival of the fittest. And we have put ourselves in competition with other human beings, saying, survival of the fittest, when actually that's not what it is. It's not a paradigm of competition, and that has been screwing us up. It is a paradigm of co-creation and a paradigm of understanding who we are as a morphogenetic field of information on this planet, both as a biofield and as a human biofield. There is a human morphogenetic field upon this planet. We really are one being, one, what do I call it? It's not a mega being, it's a super organism. That's what it is. We're a super organism. But the interesting part about that is that we should not be sacrificing ourselves for this big organism that we are. We should be being ourselves for this big organism that we are. And we should understand the power and strength and blessedness in diversity and how that ultimately is going to save us. Diversity of iteration whilst still fully connected to source. It starts illustrating something about the nature of reality. When you see enough iterations of the wholeness all coming from connection to source, then you go, oh, the idea is not for all of us to force anybody to be the one way that we've decided is the right way to be. But rather, we all have our own connection to source. Let's encourage one another to alignment with source, and then from that position, let's all dance together in joy, in harmony, in blessed. Let's grow food. Woo! Let's cook food. Let's eat food. Let's dance and play with one another and make love to one another and travel and let's do all of those things. That's what we want to do, and we can build the systems to do it. And those systems do not have to be out of alignment with the biofield. And the first thing we need to do is scrap fossil fuel. Well, the first thing to do is not scrap fossil fuel. The first thing to do is develop free, clean energy, and I promise you, the scrapping of fossil fuel will be... it will be the most natural thing in the world. When there is enough clean, free... when there is so much clean, free energy that... everybody has all the energy they need. Why do I need to pull this stuff out of the ground and at great personal expense refine it down and then sell it through an ugly, dirty pipe to you? Because you don't even want it anymore, because you can plug right into the quantum field. Do you see how our future is? We just need to get this word out, people. And then humanity needs to turn their attention in this direction. Do a little self-reflection, people. What kind of energy are you putting out in the field around you? And then are you surprised at what you're reaping back? You know? Anyway, I think I'm going to leave us with that because we're past an hour. We are indeed past an hour. Have I held my audience the whole entire time? Who is with me here? Oop. Where am I? Oh, I mean, who am I? All right. Indigo, you still with me? It looks like you are because somebody has been with me for a whole hour. That means you found me about 4 minutes in. I appreciate you so much. I have had a wonderful time this morning. I think I can come back tomorrow morning. I will be bowling with my ladies' morning league for the first time in quite a few months. I quit that league, but I just couldn't turn my back on it. I gotta go back. But I still might be back. So until tomorrow, actually, I'm going to try to do one thing before I leave. I'm so inept at this side of my stream. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Oh, that's the one. Oh, that's all I want to do. There. That says it all. I just blew you a kiss. All right. Until tomorrow, I have so much love for you. And I know that this is getting out into the atmosphere beyond just you and me. We are feeding the field. And this field is a flow of energy. And I promise you, there is more than just us hearing this. Even if it looks like you're the only one on here, there's lots. This is going out into the ethers and it will echo. It will have resonance out there and it will have purpose and it will bless wherever it touches, or at least that is my intention. I don't mean to sound grand, but that is my loving intention. And so until tomorrow, I will see you. Oh, I mean, my sign-off line is, may the source be with you.